Jordan for 5 minutes.
Mr. Attorney General, did the FBI pay Christopher Steele?
Where am I?
Right here.
Yeah.
Did the FBI pay Christopher Steele, the author of the dossier?
Those are matters you'll have to direct to the, I think maybe the special counsel.
And why is that? I'm just asking if someone.
Well, I'm not able to reveal internal investigatory matters here that's under the investigation of anybody, but particularly I think
this happened in the summer of 2016. We know the Clinton campaign, the Democrat National Committee paid through a law firm, Fusion GPS, to produce the dossier. We know the author was Christopher Steele. It's been reported that he was on the payroll of the FBI. I'm just wanting to know if in fact that is the case.
I'm not able to provide an answer to you.
Did the FBI present the dossier to the FISA court?
I'm not able to answer that.
Do you know if the FBI did the established process protocol in evaluating claims made in the dossier?
I'm not able to answer that.
On January 6, then FBI Director James Comey briefed President-elect Trump up in New York about the dossier. Shortly thereafter, the fact that that meeting took place and the subject of the meeting was the dossier was leaked to CNN. Do you know who leaked that information?
I do not.
Are you investigating who leaked that information?
That would be a matter within the investigatory powers of the special counsel.
You said you got a number of investigations going on, Mr. Attorney General, regarding leaks. Is that likely one of those that you're investigating?
I'm not able to reveal the existence of investigations or not.
Mr. Attorney General, I appreciate your service in the Senate. I appreciate your service at the Justice Department. Consider you a friend. And frankly, I appreciate yesterday's letter saying you were considering appointing a special counsel that you sent to us. But my concern is we sent you a letter 3.5 months ago asking for a second special counsel. And if you're now just considering it, what's it going to take to get a special counsel? We know that former FBI Director James Comey misled the American people in the summer of 2016 when he called the Clinton investigation a matter, obviously an investigation. We know FBI Director Comey was drafting an exoneration letter before the investigation was complete. We know Loretta Lynch, one day before the Benghazi report came out, 5 days before Secretary Clinton was scheduled to be interviewed by the FBI, met with former President Bill Clinton on a tarmac in Phoenix. We know after that meeting, when she was corresponding with public relations people at the Justice Department, she was using the name Elizabeth Carlisle. You know, as I've said before, it seems to me if you're just talking golf and grandkids, you can probably use your real name. We know that Mr. Comey publicized the investigation, and we know he made the final decision on whether to prosecute or not. And then when he gets fired, he leaks a government document through a friend to the New York Times, and what was his goal? To create momentum for a special counsel, and of course it can't just be any special counsel, it's got to be Bob Mueller, his best friend, his predecessor, his mentor. The same Bob Mueller who was involved, we've now learned, in this whole investigation with the informant regarding Russian businesses wanting to do business in the uranium business here in the United States regarding the Uranium One deal. So I guess my main question is, what's it going to take, if all that, not to mention the dossier information, what's it going to take to actually get a special counsel?
It will take a factual basis that meets the standards of the appointment of a special counsel.
Is that analysis going on right now?
Well, it's in the manual of the Department of Justice about what's required. We've only had two. The first one was the Waco, Janet Reno, Senator Danforth, who took over that investigation as special counsel, and Mr. Mueller. Each of those are pretty special factual situations.
Let me ask it this way.
And we will use the proper standards, and that's what only thing I can tell you, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I appreciate
you can have your idea, but sometimes we have to study what the facts are and to evaluate whether it meets the standard.
Well said. So let me ask you this. If in fact,
a special counsel.
Well, we know one fact. We know the Clinton campaign, the Democrat National Committee paid for, through the law firm, paid for the dossier. We know that happened. And it sure looks like the FBI was paying the author of that document, and it sure looks like a major political party was working with the federal government to then turn an opposition research document, the equivalent of some National Enquirer story, into an intelligence document, take that to the FISA court so that they could then get a warrant to spy on Americans associated with President Trump's campaign. That's what it looks like. And I'm asking you, doesn't that warrant, in addition to all the things we know about James Comey in 2016, doesn't that warrant naming a second special counsel, as 20 members of this committee wrote you 3.5 months ago asking you to do?
Well, Mr. Comey is no longer the director of the FBI.
Thank goodness.
We have an excellent man of integrity and ability in Chris Wray, and I think he's going to do an outstanding job, and I'm very happy about that.
He's not here today, Attorney General.
And I would say,
you are, and I'm asking for a special
the time of the gentleman.
and I would say, looks like is not enough basis to appoint a special counsel.
Time of the gentleman has.
Hey, this is Amazon Jude, and I watched the hearing today for Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and for the most part, it was exactly what I thought it would be. It would be a bashing of the Trump administration, trying to link them back to Russia, because Hillary is definitely connected to that. And a couple of things I took away from it. Sessions, I don't know if he's being smart, stupid, or what, but Senator Jordan threw him a hell of a big bone, and that's what this video is. And I don't know, he's either playing everything close to his vest, probably like a good Department of Justice guy is, since Democrats would hold his balls to the fire, and they're after impeaching President Trump. So it could work that way, and then it could be that Jeff just isn't the man for the job to step up to the plate to go after Hillary and them, even though the Democrats spent most of the afternoon trying to make Jeff ensure, and of course he did, that he wouldn't have anything to do with Hillary Clinton's deal, which makes him pretty much useless. 10 things I took away from it. You had Senator Jackson Lee, you know, black cowboy queen, talk about blacks in prison and what Jeff could do about that. Well, you know what? Don't commit the crime if you can't do the time. And then pot laws. Tried to get Jeff to say that just because X number of states made weed legal, that the federal government would no longer go after that. Well, that's a Bernie Sanders ploy. What the Democrats are trying to do is rebuild their party on little bits and pieces of things that, frankly, Trump really didn't want to address at the time. We had too many big issues going on, and I'm okay with that, because we know where he stood on most of them. He did talk about them in his speeches, even though the mainstream media will never tell you about them. Voter laws, voter ID laws. Well, every country in the world has voter ID laws. Even in Mexico, you don't get to go to the polls without showing your ID. And the big thing about that is Democrats are really, really upset because they've let in, and they want in, all these illegals and people who can't speak English, and then, you know, they have some interpreter stand up there and, you know, tell them what they need to hear, so they'll go to the ballot box. Remember Project Veritas? They proved Democrats were cheating on voter rolls. In fact, at one time, if I remember correctly, the Republican voter rolls were stolen and nobody knew who took them. So that I'll leave up to your imagination. But they spent most of the day pushing obstruction of justice on Trump. They're trying to say that he influenced Jeff Sessions to go after Clinton, when we all know now that it was Senator Grassley and many other Republican congressmen that have been asking for months and months and months to open an investigation into the Clinton Foundation, into the voter roll, or the Clinton Foundation, the uranium one, and that had nothing to do with Trump. If you really look at his tweets, he's not just saying, hey guys, do something. And you know what that tells me? If he's saying that, then he's not having these crosstalks with the Department of Justice. And that was one of the big issues that was wrong with the Obama administration. These guys all talked and acted the same. So you know they were talking to each other. These guys aren't talking to each other. They're going by the letter of the law. And it freaks these guys out because they haven't seen this. 40 years in Washington. What do you mean we're not sitting around having dinner discussing how we're going to weaponize our intel community to attack this guy or that guy because they're not on board with our agenda? Man, the committee looked really, really stupid today with some of the questions they were asking of Jeff, because they were trying to get him to say that him and Trump talk all the time. And it's not true. Okay, and then next ones. Yeah, the Democrats are claiming this is personal. How can it be personal to go after a corrupt organization? It's not personal. This is business. And if you're screwing up, you deserve to get chopped off at the nuts. The next one was they're trying to protect Mueller's investigation. Well, so far I haven't seen any interference by Trump or Sessions or anyone else into Mueller's investigation. In fact, the White House has cooperated 100%, turned over everything. In fact, when the Washington Crimes and New York Compost, all them started a story this morning about Don Jr. having contact with WikiLeaks, he published them right away. If that isn't the best transparency, I don't know what is. Has Hillary ever done that? Or Barack Obama? Or Loretta Lynch? Or James Comey? No. Those guys hide that shit and bury it under a rug so deep that it takes 5 years to find it. So I think that story's pretty much killed today. Want to see what Don and WikiLeaks talked about? It's on Twitter. It's there. It's open to see. Another one, the 702 program, the one that was, they called it the Hammer. Dick Morris will tell you about this. This is the spy program that they use to spy on Americans without a warrant. Jeff Sessions is in favor of it. I think he needs to go back and read it a little better. They spoke a little bit about the Liberty program, which would replace this one. I think that's something that everyone needs to look at. I'll do a little research on it and see what I can find. But if it stops the FISA warrants being abused, I'm all for it. Because I think we've all figured out that the dossier was the open door program to get a FISA warrant to spy on Trump and Flynn and all of those guys. And of course that came from Comey. He admitted it under oath. He also said under oath that the FBI never had the DNC servers, but yet Adam Schiff and Jackie Spear of California both told Roger Stone that the FBI did have those servers. I'm just trying to figure out who's the liar, Adam Schiff and Jackie Spear, or James Comey and Jay Johnson of FBI and NSA. Okay, another one. It wasn't 17 intelligence agencies, it was 4. And of those 4, they were all Obama appointees. They were all caught lying under oath to Congress. So I take their word is about as truth, about as much as Donald Duck and I are lovers. The next one they tried to cover today real good is they always like to use mainstream media articles as actual factual documents. They're not. We all know the media is full of shit. We all know they've been in the bag for the Clintons and the Democrat Party for years. We all know that 40 of them were pulled aside for private dinners at Podesta's house to make sure that only certain articles are published and highlighted and others are neglected. The whole Democrat Party is coming apart. Granted, the Republicans aren't doing too good because they still think that they are the president when it's Donald J. Trump. He won. That's the way it is. And so far, 18 Republicans are retiring as of 2019. But you got to remember, there's 33 Democrat senators up for re-election, and I wouldn't elect a single one of them. President Trump has done everything he can do by himself without Congress. Isn't that a shame? Did you hear what I just said? Without Congress. There are 435 House representative seats, 100 congressmen, and the only ones that you can get on board are the ones that are not corrupt. And the reason I say that is because if you're corrupt, you're going to be against everything Donald Trump stands for, every minute of every second of every day, because, you know, if Sessions is not corrupt, which I don't think he is, I think he's still trying to feel things out, and I think that the Democrats have held up enough seats of people we need to run the basics of government that Jeff is a little bit overwhelmed. I probably would be too. In fact, I know I would. And that goes to show for a lot of seats right now. At this point, we should have a full cabinet, and we don't. Because of people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein and John McCain and Claire McCaskill, Susan Collins. I mean, these old congressmen and Republicans and or rhinos and Democrats and liberals have literally decimated our country, and they have destroyed our basic form of government. So I'm going to leave this one where it is right now, but I want you to pay close attention to this, because yes, Jordan threw Jeff a bone, but he still is got to wait and let the chips fall where they may. So anyway, see what you think. Let me know. Leave a comment. And God bless America.